processus. Et dans une deuxième partie, comme on avait annoncé précédemment, nous parlerons du contenu maintenant substitut. Birgao, bonjour.
Ah, bonjour.
OK. Donc, tu nous as rejoint, nous sommes au complet. Je ne sais pas, est-ce que vous voyez la présentation que je suis en train de partager?
Oui, oui. Je vois.
Oui. Oui.
Alors, nous sommes en train juste de régler de faire les derniers réglages techniques pour pouvoir enregistrer donc cette session et permettre à celles et ceux qui ne seront pas là de pouvoir suivre la présentation, mais surtout les discussions, parce que la présentation, on va la partager après. C'est bon? Ok. Bon, alors, ce matin, comme je l'ai annoncé tantôt, nous allons, dans une première partie, passer en revue les différents templates qui sont demandés pour soumission lors de la préparation du document de programme. This draft CPD, I told you I will be going in English, but I still continue to speak in French. Sorry, Dana. Is it okay? Okay, as you can see, the list of documents to be prepared is very long. And they are all as important as the draft country program document, because these documents are complementary to the CPD, which is only a 7 pages document where you have only 4 pages narrative to describe in substance what will be our program of cooperation during 5 years in a given country. So you can imagine those documents that you will be preparing along with the CPD require much attention as much as for the draft country program document. You see in the table that I'm projecting that these documents, because they only to be prepared, they don't have to be submitted at the same time to headquarters. But what we recommend to country offices is to do the work once, meaning when you submit all these documents to the regional office for quality assurance, it's better to have all those ready on hand. Then you will not be continuing to have this lengthy internal work that mobilize all your team for almost more than 6 months. The list of country program documents and supplementary is in front of you. I will not go and read it. I will just start by coming to briefly introduce the template for the CPD. Simon is here. He will be going to those that are relevant to the RBM, monitoring and evaluation. And Michelle will introduce the template for the HR plan. What will be the requirements? What are the tips based on the past experience and how you have to develop it? They will be ready, I'm sure, to respond to any of your questions or clarifications. So I will just stop the slideshow for a few moments and then go to voilà, c'est bon, viens. OK. Are you seeing what I'm projecting on the screen?
Yes, for me.
You see the template for the country program?
Yes, the template, yes.
Okay.
Oui, pour moi également. Oui.
Okay, the template for the country program. The template for the country program is a very brief document. As we told you during the previous session, we need to have a document that contains at least 3,500 words with different sections. I need to improve myself. You see the cover page. Please, when you prepare these documents, make sure that you work directly in the template, because these are pre-prepared templates, and any change that you made will just less points when the scoring is being conducted. And you see that the country program, the cover page is set to include the name of the country and all the information related to the budget, the cycle, and the category of the country as classified by our strategic plan. You know that we have red, orange, yellow, and pink. In our region, we no longer have pink countries, we have red countries. Most of them are red. A few countries are orange, and we have 1 or 2 countries that are yellow, depending on the level of needs and ability to finance and other indicators that have been set to make this classification. And you know that in our strategic plan, we have 4 outcomes plus the program coordination assistance, for which you need to look at those that have been selected during the preparation and the resources that will be allocated to each one of them, both core and non-core, the total, and what will be allocated to the program coordination. When you come to the narrative, for the narrative, you have first the program rationale. The program rationale combines a deep analysis of the situation in the country, the contextual situation, both and the lessons learned from the previous country program, including findings and recommendations from the previous evaluation. I don't want to go deeply into the content, but when we will be drafting this program rationale, we need to build on very strong evidence, making the linkage between the sustainable development agenda at country level and the interlinkages with our priorities as UNFPA, how the causality analysis can be made to identify the gaps, the successes with data, of course, and showing what policies are in place and what needs to be done. I think it's quite important because the program rationale sets the stage for identifying priorities in the following paragraph, which will be on the program priorities and partnerships. This paragraph is quite important because this is the one that sets the priorities that will be addressed during the next program cycle. And it will be presented per outcome area, and it will include outputs and strategies that will be addressed during the program. I will continue on the program and risk management, where the institutional arrangement, the implementation modalities, the partners, human resources, financial resources that will be in place will be included in this section. You see, it's only 500 words, and you have a lot to say. So you need to be very, very to synthesize a lot on what you need to say, because the development of these paragraphs, most of them will be in the different supplementary document, either the human resource plan or the resource mobilization partnership and South-South cooperation plan. The narrative will end with the monitoring and evaluation. And as I told you, you have already separate documents that will be very detailed. It's just a summary on how we will be monitoring and evaluating the country program. And we come to the results and research framework, where we will clearly set and show the linkage between our country program, agency-specific country program, the United Nations Sustainable Cooperation Development Framework, and the national priorities. And you need to set very clearly to which outcome of the strategic plan this country program is contributing, which output will be selected. It can be tailor-specific output for the country program, and clearly set the indicators, the baseline, and the target. In addition, partners with whom you'll be working with are included in this section, and the resources that will be set. Very briefly, for the template, this is what you have. I have shared all this information with you. I think at this stage for the template, the content is over. It seems very simple, but when you will go to the development phase, this gives some of us headaches on how to prioritize and select the most appropriate words and sections and strategies to be included in this document. I don't know if you have any question, otherwise I will give the floor to Michelle, because Michelle has only one document to present. Very briefly, on the HR, I have the template here. On the HR plan, the human resource plan, and if you have any question, you can ask him, and then we will follow with Simon Pierre.
Hi, Pato. I have a question. Here is Alain.
Alain, oui.
Yes, thank you very much. My question is, you know, we are in the process of our country program evaluation now. We have the roadmap, and basically we'll be developing the new CPD. So your session and the all information and documentation that you are sharing are very, very key for our process. My question is about the new UNDAF development. How can we ensure that at the time where we are conducting all these process, how can we ensure that, yes, we should clearly have the new UNDAF in place? You know, we are already working on the CPA and thinking about the new CPD, but what about the agenda of the UNDAF, the new UNDAF, and how do we ensure the linkages with our new CPD? This is not clear for me. Thank you.
Okay, and a very important question, and I think we discussed briefly your question during the previous session, where we presented the framework of the United Nations. Now we call it Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework. This is what I'm calling the UNDAF has changed. What is being said in the guidelines for the UNFPA is that we need to wait until you get the priorities of this joint UN framework before setting the agency-specific priorities. It doesn't mean that we need to wait until the document is signed and completed. But you, as a country office team, you need to align the CPD priorities with what is set with this framework, which is now really becoming more important than the previous one, as it will constitute the framework of the United Nations system in contributing to national priorities, with some countries that can even take an option to work directly together to implement joint annual work plans and through the joint results group. So it's important for you to ensure that the priorities, at least if you have the results framework of this document, you can move ahead and develop your identity-specific document. But don't wait until it arrives. You have to prepare internally to get engaged in the process and position our priorities as UNFPA. And the most important way to do that is to work directly to integrating our priorities into the National Development Framework, instead of waiting to UNFPA. Simon is here. He can also say something about that. If not later, maybe he can come in with something. But let me give to Michel.
Thank you.
Voilà, c'est ça.
Ça, c'est le one page. Non, non, je ne vais pas présenter, je vais juste leur dire que normalement, on prépare les deux documents. OK? Oui, c'est bon. Oui, non, on va juste terminer. Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me. Let me go ahead. Okay. Good. Fine. Actually, there are two documents or set of documents that we prepare as part of your CPD development, and that gets submitted. The one you see here on screen is a one-pager that kind of summarizes the staffing needs of the office, which are going to go along with the program that you're proposing. Okay, this is very straightforward. As you can see, the description of the column there gives you exactly what the document needs to contain. The number of staff in the country divided by categories, as you can see from the line number 1 to line number 4. And then in the second dimension, the office units, where you specify whether you have decentralized offices or not. Then in the following dimension, you have the costing, where you specify exactly what the percentage of your program budget for staffing. And then the split between the regular resources and other resources for funding those positions. The last dimension is the one related to the UN agency collaboration. If you have any functions or activities that you execute in collaboration with other agencies and you share staff across for the realization of those functions, okay? And then you are expected to attach country organogram, country office organogram to the template when you're submitting. This is just a one-pager summarizing the key point of the HR plan that you are proposing along the country program document that you're submitting. However, there is another document that is more detailed, which gives you the opportunity to set the context for whatever structure you are proposing here. You set the context of the country office, you set the structure that you think should go along to execute the new country program that you're deploying. And then you elaborate more on the costing, which is very important to get everyone to understand what you want to do and how sustainable that new structure will be. This usually doesn't go along with a very broad analysis like the one that is usually undertaken when you want to restructure an office. It's just a projection that may need a deeper analysis when it's time to roll out the country program to assess whether the country will need to be restructured or just go through some minor staffing adjustment to be able to execute the new country program effectively. So you have to always bear this in mind. What you propose here as an HR plan is a projection with no real deep analysis. If you feel the need to do a wider restructuring analysis, you may want to specify in the document that it is a step that is going to be undertaken when the country program document is approved. And then you can take that as a head of office, whoever is in that office, to make a restructuring proposal that is going to be assessed and eventually approved for you to be executed, okay? So this is, in short, what I have to share with you with regard to the HR plan. The longer document can be found, I think, among the set of documents that we usually send to the country offices to be prepared and submitted back to us. Fatou would share that on due course whenever it's required. This one on screen is just kind of a summary, a one-pager summary that gives an overview of the staffing needs and the staffing setup of the country office as it goes with the new country program that is being submitted for approval. Over to you if you have any questions. It's worth noting that most of these documents, when they come here, we have a review together with the country, you know, to see whether their proposals are realistic or not, even if they are complete or not. And we help them to kind of adjust whenever it's required. So it's a joint effort that we put together to ensure that the document looks good and correct when it is submitted for validation. So you don't have to worry too much about it. We are going to be here to support you as required. Okay? Over to you if you have any question. If you want to ask a question, you may want to unmute before you do so because you are unmuted. Thank you.
Merci, Michel. Any question?
Oui, Fatou, j'ai une question.
Oui, Michel.
Oui,
vas-y.
J'aimerais voir la différence entre le staff professionnel et le staff international. Deuxième question, quelle est la limite réellement en termes de pourcentage, en termes de coût-efficacité pour le pourcentage du budget pour le staff? Merci.
Je comprends la différence entre le 2 et le 3. Ah non, le 2 et le 4. OK, et la seconde question, c'était quoi?
Coût-efficacité, le pourcentage de budget du programme pour le staff. Quelle est la limite, effectivement, qu'on pourrait...
la ligne numéro 7?
Oui, 7, exactement.
OK, je vais commencer par la première question. Les staffs professionnels, il y a deux catégories ou deux sous-catégories dans la section staff professionnel. C'est les National Professional Officers et les International Professionals. OK? Dans les NPO, comme on les appelle généralement dans les pays, et les IP, c'est ce qu'on appelle les Professional Staff.
Oui.
OK?
Et le 4?
Oui, numéro 4, c'est uniquement les IP. Donc, la sous-catégorie International Professional. D'accord?
Oui, puisqu'ils sont déjà dans les catégories, on peut dire donc, pourquoi spécifiquement dans le 4? C'est ça la question.
Non, je ne vous dirai pas pourquoi ils ont demandé qu'on le fournisse. Je vous explique ce que cette rubrique veut dire. OK? Maintenant, nous n'avons pas créé ce template. On l'a reçu de l'équipe qui s'en charge au siège. Donc, je vous explique le contenu. Maintenant, la raison pour laquelle ils veulent voir cette ségrégation-là, je ne l'ai pas. OK?
OK. D'accord.
En ce qui concerne la rubrique numéro 7, le pourcentage du budget qui est alloué au staffing, c'est juste une proportion. Hein. C'est les coûts de staff en proportion à la valeur totale du budget du programme pays. OK?
Oui.
Donc, c'est ce qu'on demande de refléter ici.
Je voudrais savoir, je voudrais savoir si, en fonction de l'expérience, s'il y a une limite acceptable pour ce coût. Parce que souvent, ça déborde par rapport, n'est-ce pas, aux fonds alloués, n'est-ce pas, aux activités. C'est de ça que je veux dire. Est-ce qu'il y a une limite pour... Parce que souvent, il y a des discussions au niveau pays. Quand ce montant est très élevé, comment il faut négocier avec le gouvernement, c'est ça.
Non, mais je ne vais pas répondre directement à cette question, en ce sens que je ne vais pas vous donner un pourcentage précis. Il est question ici, ces informations leur permettent d'évaluer la soutenabilité de votre structure par rapport au budget qui vous est alloué. Normalement, ils aimeraient généralement voir que l'utilisation des ressources régulières et l'utilisation des ressources mobilisées est bien répartie dans le financement des postes. C'est ce qui leur importe le plus. OK? Que les ressources régulières ou les ressources de programme ne sont pas utilisées pour financer l'implémentation des budgets, l'implémentation des projets sur les fonds mobilisés. D'accord? Généralement, c'est ce qui leur importe le plus. Donc, je n'ai pas un pourcentage spécifique, mais il est généralement question pour eux de vérifier si votre structure est soutenable ou pas. Mais il va de soi que si vous avez une structure qui absorbe, je ne sais pas, plus de 50% de votre budget programme, ça commence à devenir problématique. Parce que si vous utilisez la plus grosse portion de vos ressources pour payer les salaires, qu'est-ce qu'il vous reste pour effectuer des activités qui transforment la vie des personnes qu'on est censé servir? OK? Donc, il faut bien être conscient de ce fait-là et des contraintes qu'il va falloir gérer pour mieux balancer l'utilisation des budgets pour financer les postes.
Voilà, c'est là le... OK, il n'y a pas de souci.
Si je peux ajouter un mot à ce que Michel a dit, cette analyse-là se fait aussi en variable. L'une des variables, c'est le mode mode d'engagement. Parce que si un pays, par exemple, est pink, qui fait advocacy et policy dialogue, il est possible que la proportion des ressources utilisées pour le personnel soit très élevée, comparée à la proportion utilisée pour le programme lui-même. Donc, c'est une question qui est toujours sur la table tout le temps. Et je pense que le volet, si un pays est rouge, par exemple, on aimerait voir que, bon, je ne sais pas s'il faut dire on aimerait, mais peut-être l'idéal serait que la proportion utilisée pour la délivrance des services soit significativement plus élevée que celle utilisée pour le personnel. Donc, voilà à peu près. Mais
exactement. Oui, vous avez trouvé effectivement. J'ai été ici au Gabon, effectivement, c'était les catégories de pays, et les questions se posaient dans les négociations avec le ministre. Merci.
Oui, OK.
Merci. Une autre question?
Je peux poser une question là, Michel, bonjour.
Bonjour, chef.
Comment ça va?
C'est bien, merci, et toi?
Ça va, on fait aller. S'il te plaît, quand tu parles de country details, qu'est-ce que tu voudrais qu'est-ce qu'eux ils voudraient qu'on mette ici? Est-ce que tu as cette information?
De quelle rubrique s'agit-il?
Country detail. Fais monter un peu parce que là, c'est le. Fais monter un peu la présentation. Monter ou descendre, je ne sais même pas d'ailleurs. Voilà. OK, voilà, là. Ouais, c'est bon, c'est bon. C'est bon. Content detail, c'est la troisième colonne.
C'est les éléments qu'il faut renseigner pour les rubriques dont la description est donnée sur la gauche. Donc, quand on dit total number of staff, dans quantity detail, c'est là où tu mets le nombre de staff. Et éventuellement, les commentaires dans la dernière colonne.
D'accord, c'est bon. C'est bon, merci.
Et toutes ces informations, c'est normalement des informations qui sont détaillées dans le document de ressources humaines qui est développé. Il est un peu plus large avec tous les détails. Ce one-pager, c'est plus un summary.
C'est juste un export.
Ouais.
Merci.
De rien. Donc, je repasse à Fatou.
Tu as une question, on va passer à Simon. Qui va présenter donc le cost evaluation plan, le compact of commitment.
C'est encore mieux.
Donc, should I go in English or in French? Hello?
In English.
Oh, okay. So let me go straight to can you show the template? Everybody has the template in front, please. Let's start with the cost evaluation or any. I don't. Evaluation now. So basically, while Leopold is trying to get the template for the cost evaluation plan, and I believe this is the right one because there was one in 2017, but there was a revised version in 2018. So let me confirm this is the right one. Maybe not. Maybe not. Okay, I will share the latest version, November 2018. Basically, it is an 8-pages document. The 7 first pages are basically providing the definitions of what is will be considered as an evaluation and whatever. It provides general understanding of what will be accepted in the costed evaluation plan. Unfortunately, the version which is here is not the latest version. Can I project from my laptop? Oh, okay. No, it's okay. J'envoie sur quel ordinateur? Non, j'envoie. Non, j'envoie par email.
Envoie par moi. Et tu me l'avais envoyé, sinon?
Oui, je te l'avais envoyé. Please give us 1 second. We are trying to present the right file. Because this one. Oh, Leo. Yeah. This thing, what is it saying? Est-ce que je suis.
Ok, c'est là, laisse, il est là, tu me l'avais envoyé.
Ah, tu l'as? Okay, yeah, November 2018. So now you have the revised, the most updated version in front of you. And as I was saying, Leo, maybe you unmute them, that if somebody has an issue, you can know. they can alert us. Okay. I think so, otherwise we may not be sure if they are listening or not.
Comité là.
Hello? Please, we are unmuting you from this end and we are asking you to mute yourself from your end. If you, in case you want to speak, then you unmute yourself, please. Felix, can you mute yourself, please?
Mon gars là, mon gars, lui.
Excuse me, please mute yourself from your end, please.
Yeah.
Please mute yourself from your end, please.
Okay.
So what I was basically saying is that the costed evaluation plan template is an 8-page document, but the template itself is expected in the CPD document. It's just the last page, the page 7, it is just page 7, not even page 8. The table in page 7. The other pages are providing basically sort of information, background information into what kind of evaluations will be considered as appropriate for the costed evaluation plan. For instance, you will see that midterm reviews or program reviews will not be accepted in the costed evaluation plan. Why? Because program reviews and midterm reviews are considered as programmatic monitoring elements, not evaluation. You will see that, for instance, if you look into page page 5, 6, you will see what types of evaluations are accepted. You will see that we have country program evaluations which are accepted, regional program evaluations, and other types of evaluations which are defined as, for instance, the developmental, summative, or impact evaluations will be accepted, and midterm evaluation. GAO will be accepted, UNDAF evaluation will be accepted, humanitarian evaluation will be accepted, synthesis of meta-analysis will be accepted, as well as evaluability assessment. But it is for you to read and make a sense of what all those mean. Now, what are not considered as evaluations, you will see under section B3. Section B3 provides a list or some examples of what are not considered as evaluation and should not be included in the costed evaluation plan. I believe, Leo, can you go to B3? Oh. Sorry, I thought the screen was following my presentation. So basically, let me repeat a little bit while the screen will be speaking to what I'm saying. Let's go to section B1. Section B1 provides the typical types of evaluations to be included in the costed evaluation plan. B1. I believe everybody is seeing where B1 is. Let me show you from the screen here. This is B1. This section provides you with evaluations that should be included in the costed evaluation plan. And the table here shows country program evaluations, regional program evaluations, and so on. All what you see in this table can be part of the costed evaluation plan. These are the main evaluations to be considered. considered. B2 gives the possibility of other evaluations. B2, other evaluative activities, not evaluations. These are not really evaluations, but they can be included in the costed evaluation plan. They will be accepted. I will not go into the details, as you will have the template to look. Now, B3 provides what are not evaluations and not considered as evaluations and should not be included in the costed evaluation plan, should not be included. One example, reviews, including midterm reviews, program reviews, all those are considered as program monitoring activities. Baseline studies, end-line studies, and so on are not considered as evaluation for technical reasons. Unless you want us to go into the details, I will not go into details, but for technical reasons, these, including surveys, are not considered as program evaluation. Very simply because a program evaluation is looking at what was planned, was it achieved? While the surveys are not looking at that. The surveys are collecting, cross-cutting data for a certain purpose. Now, this is the template for the costed evaluation plan. So this is the only page that will find itself into the CPD submission. And I think it is very simple to fill it. What will be a main remark here would be the fact that UNFPA recommends that for each evaluation, at least for the CPE, Campus Program Evaluation, a budget of $70,000 as minimum should be required, should be set. I will not explain why, because I don't know why why it is 70,000. We've been discussing it, and I will just say that that is the amount the evaluation office, that is the threshold. But we've had, this has raised some issues with some countries with small budgets, considering that the evaluation policy requires each country to undergo at least one evaluation after each 2 cycles. You cannot conduct more than 2 cycles of programming without an evaluation. And some small countries may not be able to put aside 70,000 for an evaluation. Sometimes even the scope, the size of the country does not allow, because you cannot say you will conduct an evaluation in city in DRC with 70,000, and in Congo or Brazzaville you still require the same 7,000, or in Gabon you still require the same 7,000, or in Djibouti you still require the same 70,000. But this is the threshold. Sometimes we have to go into negotiations to accept budgets less than 70,000, but the threshold is set as 70,000. Now, I think this is okay. In the table as well, what I can mention is the partnerships. It is actually recommended that it is a good practice to have joint evaluation activities in the country, in which case the budgets will be sort of complementary. For instance, UNDAF, it is not the place for UNFPA. It is not the responsibility of UNFPA, for instance, to conduct an UNDAF evaluation, but it is the responsibility of UNFPA to contribute to UNDAF evaluation. Therefore, you will see in many costed evaluation plans, contribution to UNDAF evaluation 5,000, 10,000, that's fine. But if you are planning for a counter evaluation, which will be conducted only by UNFPA, then you will need an appropriate budget. Now, if you are conducting other types of evaluations, like thematic evaluations, outcome evaluations, if any, then it is good, it is recommended to be part of it it should be conducted in the country by multiple partners so that we are just part of it. As you know, we are not accountable for outcome or impact level indicators. We are accountable for program level indicators. Thus, the country program evaluation is our accountability level. For other evaluations, we can partner in the country to conduct. So that's why you see in the table here, you see key partners when conducting the evaluation, the before last column. That's when we are conducting evaluations with other partners. The last column is if it is a joint evaluation. Is it a joint evaluation exercise? You should say yes or no. If it is joint, just yes. If it is no, then no. But if when it is no, it means it is only UNFPA. Therefore, an adequate budget should be there. What is very important is that the evaluations plan or organized by the country offices in the evaluation, in the costed evaluation plan, normally has the policy. The budget for the evaluation should be 1 to 3% of the program budget. This is has the policy, but I can tell you it never happens. So unless you guys have questions, this will be the end of this presentation. Thank you very much. Any questions? You are then muted or unmuted?
No.
Are you with us? Are you still there?
Yes, I'm here. I think the presentation is clear for.
Clear. It's clear for me too.
Okay.
The only here is Alain.
Okay. Thank you very much.
So the only one support and see here, you know this is to have the support and advice of the country, the regional office on this CPA process, and I think this is only the comment I would like to make. But the presentation is very clear for me. Thank you.
In any case, the regional office is always available and ready to support country offices. Do not have enough staff, we are short-staffed, but we will do our best to accompany our country offices as much as we can. So we work with the country offices through both in the design, in the development of the cost evaluation plan, and in the of the evaluations. So that's our. Now, if you were to move to the compact of commitment, the compact of commitment, actually there is a presentation on the compact of commitment. There is a PowerPoint presentation, which I believe Fatou may share with you guys. There is a compact of commitment presentation, which was prepared by the OSQA. I think the best is to share it with colleagues. But what I could say here very shortly is that the compact of commitment is like writing your country program document in one page. That's basically what I could say. The idea is that as a representative in a country, if you meet with the president of that country who asks you, what are you doing in my country? You should be able to tell him in 10 seconds or 15 seconds. Because the president will not give you 5 minutes. In some countries, you meet with the president only in January when you are meeting him for New Year ceremony. So in 30 seconds, you should be able to tell him what UNFPA is doing in that country and what are the targets that you are planning to achieve. So the compact of commitment is for the country to say, if there is one result I have to achieve in this country, this is it. So you have the compact of commitment template in front of you. You will see that the important parts or the parts we can discuss are those starting with the transformative results. The question here is your CPD. What transformative results is your CPD targeting? We have 3 transformative results: 0 maternal death, 0 need for family planning, and 0 gender-based violence, right? Yeah, so the point here is your CPD might be targeting 2 or 3, but the compact of commitment, it is recommended that you choose 1, which is really what you will want to show in that country. If you choose more, then you complicate your life uselessly. The best is to have 1, but there is no policy saying you cannot have more than 1. But the recommendation is to have 1 here. So what transformative result is your CPD linked to? The outcome indicator is which outcome indicator then are you targeting? Basically, we have 4 outcomes in our CPD, in our strategic plan. Under those 4 outcomes, we may have several outcome indicators, and it is for the country to choose which outcome indicator they will be targeting to achieve. You will ask me that our accountability is at output indicators level. Why are we targeting the outcome indicator? The point here is that if UNFPA in a country is working on 0 maternal deaths, transformative results, for instance, UNFPA should be able to leverage all the partners working in on that domain to ensure that the country is moving towards achieving that indicator, achieving the SDG 3 on maternal deaths. So the UNFPA representative and the UNFPA country office, it is not that they have to deliver on that outcome, but it is that they have to leverage partners. They have to be the main advocates. They have to position themselves in the country as the main advocate for that outcome indicator. So that is how you formulate your high-level commitment. The high-level commitment, which is the next row, is actually saying, in this country, we will want to move unmet needs for family planning from this percent to that percent. That will be your high-level commitment. And then you will describe the pathway of change, which is basically sort of your theory of change that you are describing here. Very summarized. I have seen several countries writing a 3-pages change pathway here. That is not where you write your theory of change. Your theory of change is a conceptual framework that you develop when you are strategizing, when you are prioritizing for your program. You develop it extensively, but you now translate it into your CPD in terms of strategies and activities. And in the compact of commitment, you summarize it. You just summarize it. And then your annual milestones. The annual milestones are linked to the indicator you've chosen in the outcome indicator, baselines and target. Your milestones should be, the understanding of milestone is, if I were to achieve these milestones, I would then achieve the high level commitment. So there should be a programmatic and results link between the milestones and the outcome indicator, which is up there. And the regional office and all our reviewers provide input into that to support the country to develop it. The rest is just splitting the milestones into the different years of the program and providing the metadata, which is the definition and the measurement framework for the indicators and the milestones, and as well the source of information. Where will this data come from? Will it be from service delivery reports, from periodic programmatic reports, or so on? So in a short presentation, this is what the compact of commitment will be. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So there is a key requirement here that the signature of the rep is actually very important, because that is where the rep commits himself that this is the agreement that we had in the country office, and I will be working towards that. So now the pathway of change is an annex, as you can see in section 3, where you have the theory of change and all these things, but you develop that outside of the compact of commitment, which is on page 1. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Yes, Simon, good morning, and thank you for your presentation. I just want to have some information regarding annual targets. The annual target, what is your benchmark? What is your the data that you are using? Because at country level, we are at outcome level, so the target most of the time is the beginning of the program and the end, and we can link that with the government target. So how we can just is the exercise, we know the end target, and we can maybe give some adjustment each year, or what is we can base on the lesson learned to give our annual target. The last part.
Thank you. I guess that is reground. The targets are targets. Targets are not, I mean, when you are talking about the lessons learned, I don't really know how to use that as a target. A target is something that you are planning to achieve. And if you are planning to achieve, it means it has to be evidence-based. If it is evidence-based, it means you will have to have data verification tools or documents, and that's what is at the bottom, source of information. That source of information is the data verification document. So if you set your target to, 10% in 2018, when you report those 10%, you should be able to attach the verification document. Now, let's take one example, a very simple example. In a country, the maternal mortality is at 800 per 100,000 live births. If in 5 years, the national document has said that the maternal mortality rate should be moved to 500, and UNFPA uses that as their target in the compact of commitment, and they say that this is 800 in 2017, for instance. If we set that 2018 will be 750, 2019 600, 2020 580, and so on. If we report, for us to report the 700 in 2018, we may, for instance, say that the source of data is the health system, the HMIS, the Health Management Information System. That will mean we will have, UNFPA will have to put resources in place to be able to collect maternal mortality data on a routine basis in the country. UNFPA should be able to invest in analyzing the global HMIS system, extracting maternal mortality data, so that by the time they are reporting, they should be able to attach the national, how do they call that? There is this national statistics report from the country. They should be able to say, in 2018, we had 750 maternal deaths over 100,000 live births. If that is what UNFPA has taken as commitment, they should invest in it. They should invest in putting an adequate data collection, data reporting, data analysis in place so that they are able to report on those milestones. Did I make myself clear?
Yes.
No, that's clear.
Yeah, I'm here. But before you can reporting, you already targeted. You give some, like you explain. But maybe when you are reported, you cannot get the exactly number of reduction that you put it. You know,
Yeah.
so that is challenge. The target that you fix it.
Yeah. So in that case, what I said is that you need to fix your milestones, knowing where the data will be coming from, source of information.
Of course.
It's the responsibility of the country office to choose the indicators they will be able to report against.
Okay.
It is the responsibility of the country office to therefore put systems in place to ensure they will be able to report. It wouldn't make sense for UNFPA to, for instance, say that they will report on maternal mortality in the country if they do not have the systems in place, or if they cannot put the system in place, if they cannot strengthen the system to be able to provide. That's why we say you should not be shooting yourself in the foot. You should be choosing what you are able to deliver. You should be choosing what you will be able to report against. Don't make a choice, then at reporting time, you say you do not have the data. It's a matter of planning. It starts from the planning process. It does not start at the reporting time. I hope I've made myself clear, but we can continue the discussion if...
Yes, clear for me. It's okay.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so we will proceed with the next template. I don't think we will proceed with the next template. The performance summary is just a template which we can discuss later on. Actually, I will briefly introduce to you the integrated resource mobilization, partnerships, and South-South cooperation plan. It's quite risky for me to go through that because Jocelyn is on mission. Unfortunately, he is not here to attend this and present himself the key requirements. It's quite a very important document because in the context of the reforms, we have more and more to work in partnerships with other agencies, but we have to broaden our partnership with different external and new development partners, including internalizing South-South cooperation among government countries in emerging economies, working with the private sector, working internally with civil society, also the communities, young people, women's group, religious leaders, traditional leaders, parliamentarians, all type of partners. And it's important when you develop that template, when you develop that document, to go through the template in detail and looked at what you can include in there. What have okay, as you can see in the template, it's a very detailed. You can read the guidance that is provided when you are filling it. It's quite important, as I said, to mention all these partners with whom you will be working at the country office, or you need to include. The most important dimension is this template will serve also to guide the executive committee when they are reviewing the non-core funds in particular that have been set for the country programs. Sometimes the reaction is, oh, you are having a very high amount of resources. Where is it coming from? This is not realistic. This is too ambitious. But some country officers anticipate in negotiating with donors or even negotiating with other partners, because the partnership is financial, but it can be also non-financial in the context, for example, of the UN reform, in the UN Sustainable Development Framework. We are working in the common chapter with other agencies, and we will have joint work plans. Then this also needs to be included. But when it comes to the amount of resources with bilateral or other donors outside core funding, you need to mention in detail what will be their contribution. And what is to be included, most importantly, is related to the commitment made by these donors you have engaged in discussion. So it's quite important to consider that dimension. You cannot just include in the matrix that you intend to go and discuss with UK because you would like them to provide you with $2 million. This is not the way to go in this template. The country office usually engage a discussion 1 year before or 2 years before, or even it can be an overlapping support, which is a contribution that has already signed in the previous program and which is overlapping in the upcoming program. So we report the amount that will be implemented during the new program cycle. So all this is to be considered in this template. I think Jocelyn is really somebody who can go in details. If you have any clarification questions, you can write it down, send it to us, and he will be glad to respond. You see also in countries that are working in the context of SWED, for example, the Sahel Women Empowerment Project with World Bank, you need to include what is going to be provided in contribution to this project, because this is non-core fund to World Bank. The projects with European Union, for example, the Spotlight for countries engaged in that. Our collaboration with other companies, with the volunteers, with the civil societies, or even the independent grants that you will be receiving, you need to put it very clearly and feel clearly also the different columns that are here. So I will stop there for this part, but request you to review the template in detail and the guidance. And if you have any question, then write it to us, and I will copy Jocelyn's, and we will share it with him. He will respond to you. Now I would like to pass.
Okay. Thank you. Hello, Fatou.
Oui.
Ok, merci. Je pense que merci pour la présentation. This is the challenge here is how to get donor commitment when we are working on this process, because it's just projection based on our actual relationship or partnership with donors. So this resource mobilization plan is basically the projection, and how can we get some commitment from donor? I think this is something we need to put on the table. We need to think about it when we are preparing our CPD. Now, I thank you for that. Now, regarding the UN system, Have you already started some discussion with the RC system or DOCO, something like that, so that this framework of I saw in the template, which is very good, how the UN system, can you show this part? Yes, UN system funding stream, joint program, thematic funding is very important. I think we also have this SDG fund coming now, but my question is, have you already set up a discussion with the RC system on this, so that we at agency level, at country level, we know that there is a discussion, UN discussion on this joint program issue? Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Alan. I think I want to be very cautious in responding to you, because this is an ongoing process which is evolving. But what I can say is that from the UN, the new UNDAF guidelines, you will have options at the country level. Some countries will opt even not to develop a country program document and go directly with the joint annual work plan. And in this context, they will be working in not only contributing from their agency resources, but having a framework where they will be having joint funding mechanisms to complement the resources coming from agency specific. And this is where the SDG funds will come in. This is where you have a joint resource mobilization plan for that framework. You will be jointly mobilizing funds and implementing your joint work plans. This also applies for the other option, where in addition to the new UNDA framework, I don't want to go to the United Nations Sustainable Cooperation Framework, because this is how it is called now, Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework.
Cooperation,
We also have that approach. I cannot just confirm that discussions are engaged with RCs at the regional level, no, but at the global level, as we, UNFPA, have chaired the development of the guidelines, we are actively participating in the different groups at headquarters level where the discussion is being conducted. But any outcome coming from there, we'll be pleased to provide you with guidance. If you have also any specific point which is worrying from you, you can even share with us and with our headquarters colleagues what is the corporate position on that point. Right?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Merci, Alain. Alors, we are going now to pass to the last part of this session today, which is related to the development of, I'm going back to the PowerPoint. The PowerPoint, on l'avait fermé? Okay, the second part of our presentation today will be on the CPD development submission, review, and approval process. We will just review the different steps. Hello, Stella. You are on our screen.
See you. Hello.
Okay, are you seeing what I'm projecting?
Yes.
Okay. We have different
Yes.
steps in developing the country program documents and supplementary documents. First of all, it's a drafting process at the country level, of course. And the second level is a review and quality assurance that is being conducted both in the regional office and at headquarters level. The third step is a revision and clearance being done by the country office and the regional office, the editing and submission after the program review committee at headquarters, and the review and approval by our executive board, which marks the final approval of the document, which can be used now for implementation. Okay, as you can see here, I have added one small step, but you understand that I have just disaggregated what was presented before. At the country office level, the preparation of the CPD should be an inclusive and participatory process. And in the context of leaving no one behind, all those who are the beneficiaries, the most left behind, should be represented either through the civil society, but with the government and other partners who are working with them. The second stage will be the review at the regional office level. And at the regional office level, we have put in place mechanisms that were presented during the previous session, the quality assurance process where a review is conducted by regional advisors and also by regional peer reviewers who are outside the regional office and who will be giving a scoring based on the quality assurance, based on the framework of assessment of the draft PPD. And once you receive the feedback, the draft and other documents are being revised at the level of the country office and finalized, cleared by the regional office and submitted to headquarters for their global reviews and with a scoring. Your document will be satisfactory or not, and then it will be presented to the executive committee through the program review committee group, chaired usually now by the Deputy Executive Director Program. This work is a very long and extensive work, a back and forth working process for which you need to be engaged and committed continuously. And there are a lot of discussions going on and even contradictory comments that can put you in a very challenging situation. But our exchange and your knowledge of the country context and the realities and even the wider environment within the country will lead to the final decision being in your hands on what to retain and what to remove from what you get as feedback. The ultimate thing is that our contribution should be relevant, should be complementary to what others are doing, and our comparative advantage will be clear with other country offices. I will just go very briefly to the details of what needs to be done at the country office level. Of course, when you are preparing the roadmap, which is aligned to the UNDAF, the UN Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework, you will also provide us with a plan where you request the support of the regional office and a continuous exchange in a capacity building format will be conducted to support the country office in this preparation. And we consider also recruiting an external consultant, and this is why we are orienting a set of experts who can be ready to support you during that process. I'm just detailing what I have said before. You can review it in detail as I will be sharing the presentation later. But this is quite what we consider as a key steps to review the draft, to prepare and review the draft CPD. there is a timeline also that exists. And I think that timeline, we should comply with that when we are preparing the CPD. I don't want to give you also all this documentation. It will be just included in the set of documents that you have, but even we have disaggregated it by weeks. And your process should start 44 weeks, if I understand well, before you have to submit it to headquarters. So, and we are working backward in terms of deadlines. You will receive all these documents at country officers and consultants to ensure that you comply with the timeline, because we are receiving all the deadlines from headquarters, and we set our own deadlines at regional level to ensure that the process is followed at our level before going to headquarters. And this has paid, because by following this process, we are ensuring that the quality is there, all the required steps are met at regional level, and headquarters will have to do the minimum work in order for us to get the highest score for the region. So this is briefly what I wanted to introduce. I will share with you all the documents. If you have any question, we will be ready to respond to you, any clarification now or later on. Those who are not attending today, and even yourself, you will get the recording, because we are now recording the sessions, then it will be easy for you to follow on that. Alain, I will share the template for the resource mobilization plan, and any question you have, write to us. We will share with Josna, as I told you. He's on mission today. This is why he's not here. Thank you.
Thank you. Merci bien, Fatou.
C'est qui?
Jana.
Oh, Jana. Jana, you speak French? Oh.
Yes.
Okay, then Stella is the one who is not speaking French here.
Ah, okay. No, I speak French.
Okay. Any question?
No, for me it was all very clear. It's super interesting. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. As I said, we will share all of this with you. If you think about anything later on, please be in touch. We are ready for that. The next session will be on the 19th. Right? The next session will be on the 19th, right? Okay.
Yes.
So please, thank you so much. Thank you so much for attending. I hope it's useful for some of us. For some of you, it's a refresher. For others, it's quite new. But familiarize yourself with the guidelines. The link I shared last week, familiarize yourself with what is in there, because it will be the daily tools that you'll be using to conduct this process. And the regional office is ready to continuously liaise with country offices, with the consultants, to provide you any support required. We have set mechanisms, we have advisors who will be there for that. Thank you. If you don't have any question, then the meeting will be over. We are gaining on time. I'm setting 2 hours, but we try to limit ourselves to maximum 1 hour and a half, which is good, because people are getting tired to be connected for so long. And I hope it has been useful for all of you. Thank you so much, and see you next week.
Okay. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
C'est quoi